I wanted to ask you about having a daughter who is really making some moves in this generation of hip hop. We've seen it grow, and I know both you and Ron have talked about just what it's like, this cutthroat industry. What kind of advice do you give her, and how do you guide her?
Well, first I want to shout out to Coi Leray. You know what I'm saying? She's definitely doing her thing. You know, I have four kids, and actually, my son Ray Chavo, he goes by the name of Chavo. He got signed to Universal when he was 9 years old, and of course, Coi is doing her thing now. Very proud of them both. You know, having kids in the industry, you know, I mean, you know, this generation, you know, Coi's generation, Gen Z, they don't. You know, this is the generation that kind of has to learn on their own. They listen, but they kind of, it's almost like they listen, but they kind of have to go out there and experience it. This is the experience generation, you know. They don't listen, I don't think, as much as we did when we came up. You know, my kids are pretty independent when it comes to music. They want to do things their way. And it's only because they grew up in the studio all their life. I mean, I've been around music and studios, man, I'm 56, at least 40 of those years. So they've been around it. I try to give them as much advice as possible, as much advice as that they'll take in. And, you know, without leaning on them too much. You know, I think, like I said, that this generation is about kind of finding out on their own, which can, you know, it's like a double-edged sword. It could be good, but also, you know, if there's a pothole and I know the pothole's there, and if I'm telling them, but, you know, it's like, hey, Dad, you know, listen, you know, you're a little bit older, you know, things are different now. So they have to kind of, you know, go in the pothole themselves and climb out. But I'm always here for them. There's not too much I don't know now about the industry and the pitfalls of it. You know, like Ronnie said, it's a cutthroat business. I know the game is made to fool you and take from you. As far as the money side, it's kind of made to take advantage of you. I mean, you hear horror stories of artists all the time, and it's not like it's a big coincidence. It's just designed to, if you don't have the knowledge, then we're gonna take advantage of you.
Now, with the horror stories, I'm just curious. Like, Ron, what were the feelings like when you come back off a tour? There's no money. You're going home to your family. Clearly, you're playing the packed arenas, but you come home with no money. I mean, I feel like you got to be a pretty cold and callous individual.
Yeah.
And I know people talk about being shrewd, and we've all seen contracts, but what's that like? What was that feeling like? And what did your family say when you got home?
There's levels to it, right? Like you're traveling up to New York City and you're making, you know, $1,500 a show, right? You're going up there initially on the weekends and you're doing 2 and 3 shows at night, starting at 12:30 at night, because the clubs don't pop off in New York City, but we're 15, you know, 14 at the time, right? Friday, Saturday night, we get in the car and go back, $1,500, right? Okay, we're making this thing called per diem, you know, at this point. Like, before that, Mama, you know, can I get $5? Can I get $2? You know, like, that's the level of what you're reaching for. You know what I'm saying? At that age, like, I just want an allowance, you know, every week or whatever that is. So then all of a sudden, per diem, $35 a day is being put on the plate, right? Like, yo, I'm staying in a hotel and I can order shrimp cocktail downstairs, you know, but I'm still making $1,500, $2,500. Like, I'm not even really thinking about that. I'm like, yo, I elevated from $10 a week to $35 a day on the weekends, right? And we're learning, you know, throughout the process. We come home after that off of a tour, like you said, that's a whole different thing. The dollar and some change, right, was in the bank account. We made money, you know, along the way, you know, little certain drawdowns where they got to pay you $1,000 here, whatever that is. Like, so you're making a little bit more money along the way. It's from $10 to per diem, $35 a day to, okay, now it's $1,500 a week or $2,500 a week. We're rising up the scale, but at the same time, we're learning the business, right? And we're seeking information, and for me, I was a late bloomer on that side. Like, kudos to Michael Bivins, you know, kudos to my mom at times, you know, saying, look, what the hell is going on? I love my Uncle Brooke for really just sitting me in New Edition, knowing I had the talent and coming back and saying, Ron, do you want to be in this group that I knew about? Hell yeah, you know, and him being able to try and figure it out, you know, at the same time, but really not knowing. Like, we have the talent, you know, we have the vision, you know, we're trying to take this thing up a level, but we don't know. Like, we're being thrust into some shit that's upper level when all we've been taught was to think on this level.
And
right?
that's where it feels almost criminal with what they do to young black artists. Actually, let's just take young artists that don't have anything. They come dangle something knowing your mom's behind on the rent. Yeah. And the smallest thing, you still sound appreciative, and neither one of you sound bitter when I would be. Do you ever think about how much money you've made other people? Do you know how much your group has made? Do y'all know how much money y'all have generated in this industry? It's gotta be
if we got what we were supposed to get, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. Like, I'd just be like in my boxers somewhere, you know, on an island. You know what I'm saying? Right? You still feel like you gotta work, right? At the end of the day, right? But it's good that you wanna work, right, in the industry like we're in. Like, I love being on tour. You know, the grind is a little crazy, you know, and if I can do it when I wanted to a certain extent, if I could give it to people every other year, what have you, and I knew everything was taken care of, all of the above, like, I'm still doing that. Because I love the energy when they say, ladies and gentlemen, right? New Edition, Bell Biv DeVoe, Ronnie DeVoe, Benzino, you know what I'm saying? Whatever that is, right? So I love what I do, and it's been a journey trying to figure out how to get to the ownership equation, right? And we're there, right? Along the way, we've seen it, right? Even on tour, the All for Love tour, the Castle, you know, the whole Yeah I Mean, right? We're in an 80-20 deal, right, with Alan Heyman, right? Getting into the back end dollars and all that, right? We make this money, but, you know, at the time, the money is going towards taxes and back stuff, and then you're in a deal with a management company.
Just to clarify, it's 80-20, he gets 80, right?
No.
Oh, you're getting 80.
New Edition is getting 80.
Okay.
Yes. A promoter's job is to promote the concert for that amount of money, you know, and you're supposed to get the lion's share, you know, but you don't know that when you're coming off the block and you pulling on Mom Duke's coattail for, you know, an allowance of $100 or $25, and somebody dangles that carrot in front of you and they say, yo, you can up from 100 to 1,000, you know, you don't know that you're really supposed to make $1 million, right? But there's levels. Right. And I think we're in the culture, we're in a place in time where people feel like they work for something, right? Like I paid my dues. It was always you gotta pay your dues. Like, nah, like, you know, give me what I'm supposed to get.